Welcome back to Practical Stoicism. I hope you're doing well. Remember, if you'd like to get rid of ads, you can do so at stoicism.supercast.com, and there's a link in the show notes to learn more about that. Today, we're going to be covering Meditation 17 from Book 4, which reads as follows. Within 10 days, thou wilt seem a god to those to whom thou art now a beast and an ape, if thou wilt return to thy principles and the worship of reason. I actually giggled when I read this one because it's so absolutely prescriptive, right? Marcus is saying, if only you'd stop mucking around and actually get back to or start putting into practice the things I've been talking about up till now, you would seem like a god to all those who currently see you as a stupid ape, and it would only take 10 days. It's almost super villain-esque, isn't it? Thou wilt seem a god. It's a strange thing to say, I think. A little egotistical, maybe. There are times when meditations like this crop up that I wonder if Marcus might have been prone to bouts of excitement during certain phases of his life. I imagine him walking around his barracks on the war front thinking, 10 days seems right. I'll bet you in just 10 days, people could turn themselves around. I mean, why 10 days and not 11 or 8? I guess I don't know. But this seemingly hubristic meditation does have something to teach us, and that is this. It doesn't take that long to make yourself better and for people to notice that you've done so. Imagine if you started a regular commitment to an exercise program today, or to a healthier way of eating, whatever. Imagine you did it for 10 days. It might become, in that brief period of time, a little habitual, right? Imagine you did it for 30 days, or for 90 days. At some point, this behavior is no longer an effort. It's simply the way you do things. And no doubt, after some amount of time, people who knew you might come to recognize the change in your behavior and say things like, well, aren't they turning over a new leaf? They would have never behaved that way before. Maybe this is a new Steve or Becky. But I think it's less about the amount of time it takes to normalize new patterns of behavior and more about a well-established truth we're now aware of, thanks to the ongoing work in neuroscience on neuroplasticity, that the repetition of new behaviors changes the physical structures of your brain, which changes how you think and eventually ingrains those behaviors permanently into your character or personality, making them no longer behaviors so much as habituated reflexes or just the way you do things. In the same way that however you behave isn't necessarily a concerted effort, but a pattern of behavior that you just have naturally fallen into. Modern science suggests that this process of neural reprogramming, let's call it, it's called neuroplasticity, in most cases takes 30 days. And there's actually this really great program, which, before I even mention it, is not a sponsor. I actually don't even know if they're around anymore. If they are, though, you're probably going to want to check them out, that I discovered a few years ago, around the start of the pandemic, I'm pretty sure. It's called Made For. And if they're still around, I'm sure it's madefor.com or something like that. But a quick Google will find it if you're interested, and if it's still around. The idea was that every month a box would come to your house, and in it would be some instructions about a new behavior that you were to commit to for 30 days. The first behavior was drinking water. And that might sound silly, but think about how frequently you are not drinking water and how many health issues are related to being underhydrated. And then for the next month, it was about getting outside, I think, for 30 minutes a day. And I found that this program worked exceptionally well and did result in me normalizing a few behaviors that I knew I needed to normalize, but just wasn't normalizing or hadn't done so up to that point. Marcus lived nearly 2,000 years ago, so I think we can forgive him for being 20 days off his estimate of 10 days, but surely even 10 days does something, right? It proves that you can sustain the effort, and that is worth learning about yourself. This episode's a little short, but here's what I'd like you to consider doing today. Identify something that you know you should be doing regularly, but you don't. Maybe it's drinking the correct amount of water every day. That seems like a pretty low bar to start with. But whatever you want, maybe it's read 10 pages of a book every day. Just make sure it is realistically approachable for you. Don't pick something like work out 2 hours a day every day of the week. Pick something small that you know you should be doing every day and do it every day. And at the end of the day, write down in a little journal or something what you did, whether or not you met the goal or you didn't, and then kind of reflect on it. If your goal is to drink 10 8-ounce glasses of water, write down how many ounces you actually drank. Just hold yourself accountable and spend 30 days focused on this single small change in behavior. I really do think that drinking water is a good start because I know how few of us get enough water every day. We're pretty consistently, as human beings, underhydrated. But pick whatever you want and send me an email on the website, stoicismpod.com, under the contact section, and let me know what you chose and why you chose it. I would be interested in hearing that. In 30 days, I'll set a timer today or something. I'll remember to do this in 4 weeks or so. I'll create a bonus episode or a TikTok live or something, and we'll see how everyone did and how they feel. I don't usually give prescriptions at the end of an episode, but there you go. A little bit of homework for you. Good luck. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Practical Stoicism. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't yet, consider leaving this podcast a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or podchaser.com, or wherever it is you can leave a review where you listen to this podcast. Also, if you want to get rid of ads, check the show notes for a link to stoicism.supercast.com and get rid of those ads. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, take care.